Welcome back, everyone. Toyshiz here, and I'm back yet again with another news update for you. Kind of a special one in terms of the He-Man 40th anniversary, and talking about the Eternia Playsets and a whole bunch of new action figures and whatnot coming for He-Man Origins and Masterverse. So about a week and a half ago, Mattel, up at their location in El Segundo, California, had a bunch of people for a big press event to talk about and show off a ton of new products. And this is all kind of correlating for the He-Man 40th anniversary. And if you're not familiar with He-Man, well, it's this guy right here. I've seen that statue before at PowerCon. That's pretty cool. They had lots of things set up at their really cool looking showroom. Eternia lives in all of us. Raise the sword, say the words. By the power of Grayskull, I have the power. And they had a really nice setup. And like I said, 40th anniversary, had all the press and all the influencers, and everybody came and hung out, and they did a nice presentation. However, I will tell you this. While we talked about a lot of products, right, the main thing that I really enjoyed was seeing the design process, and they did take us around their big factory and show us all the different machines. They had a ton of Masters of the Universe, really cool artwork like this right here, which is amazing. They're all originals. That was awesome to see. Really enjoyed that. I love the artwork for Masters of the Universe. But like I said, they showed off a lot of their 3D printing tech. And basically you go on this little orb-looking thing with all these cameras, and about, between 5 to 12 hours, depending, you can print out basic little action figures of yourself. And they're not articulated, these ones at least. But man, oh man, is that cool. And I gotta say, as much as the selfie series is a thing, I would rather have this all day. They look like miniature little representations of real people. Now, in going around and looking at all the different rooms, they took us to a room called the Eternia room. And I thought, well, take some photos. That way, it's like you're there, right? You get to experience this for yourself. And in this room, in this building, they have tons of, we'll say, well, some of it's new, some of it's old. A lot of old Masters of the Universe, so especially for you collectors out there, you're going to like the next couple minutes. But they showed off some interesting pieces. Continuing on with the Shogun Masters, right? You have He-Man and Faker. Those are those robots, like the old-timey type robots from Japan, right? They have you push the buttons and the fists shoot out and launch, and yeah, they're pretty dang cool. Can't say it's for me, but the Skeletor one thing, it was kind of associated with Origins, kind of not. But if you are interested in these are toys that are coming up in November 2022 on Mattel Creations. And then moving on in this room, you get to see some things by Mondo, right? They're huge figures that are gorgeous. I do have one of them. I have Merman. He's quite impressive. And the big table right here, which was all He-Man Origins. And that's what I like about Origins. It creates a unique world. It's all wackadoo. But they had a couple new comic books out, we'll just say, like The Art of the Snake. At least I think that's what it said. And we got to see the Deluxe King Hiss in person, take photos. He recently just went up for pre-order. And then moving on down the line, we had some Masterverse figures. And the 40th anniversary He-Man. You had to look at the new Roboto, right? Domo Arigato right there. And yeah, it's all in that new Masterverse for the Netflix Revelation show. He looks pretty good. He looks pretty solid. I got to give it to him on that. They did show off the upcoming He-Man figures for the old movie with Courtney Cox and the pink Cadillac. No, that doesn't look like Dolph Lundgren. There's two heads in the box, but neither of them look like Dolph. And then, they got a cool Skeletor. I think that was more along the lines of Frank Langella right there. One of the weapons I think was missing out of the box. These are just mock-up samples, of course. And they showed off an in-box Stratos. So that is pretty cool as well. This is part of the new Eternia line. And of course, that will be coming soon. All of these are mostly coming soon. Some have pre-orders, but you get to see on the box all the upcoming characters, which we've already known about since San Diego Comic-Con. Moving down the line in this Eternian room, you got some of the old Mattel classics right there. You got Hordak, and the snake guy. Help me out. Some of you got to help me out on like a few of these, like the Ram guy. I know the other guy is like Whiplash. Very cool to see. Even going back even further, right? With these Master Universe figures, just a few on display. But the big centerpiece of the room is this giant, basically just the front of Castle Grayskull with a glowing clear crystal Orko, his heart's glowing, or the medallion on his is glowing. And yeah, it's quite impressive. It's all decked out. It's all handmade. Yeah, it's just a very cool. It's giant. It's enormous. And like I said, yeah, that's a pretty cool looking Orko for a nice little standy piece right in front. Continuing on, they had, like I said, a ton of old carded Masters of the Universe figures. And I remember Mr. Pixel Dan was next to me going like, wow. You know, and I'm going like, oh, are they worth money? Yes. Apparently they are. Lots of money, all carded figures. But I really enjoyed this case because I like to see all the toys out of the packaging, all the old stuff. I have that right there, the Dragon Walker. It still works. That's pretty cool. Got that a little bit ago. This I've had since I was a kid, which is the Mantenna, and I like his little eyes that poke out. You got the old-fashioned Roton. See? Look at that. I did my homework on Master Universe. I'm really enjoying this. And you have the Fright Zone with the little puppets, right? Hopefully they make a new version of that. That would be cool. And then this I have to have Spydor. I've never actually seen it in person. It's huge. That's amazing. I have to get one of those. So then continuing on, we go from the toy room and then we got to go to the Mattel Sound Lab. And they had it all set up for He-Man, and it's actually where, I mean, the Sound Lab has been there for years and years, almost 30 years, I think even more than that. They get to record all the He-Man dialogue for the different shows and whatnot over the years. So that's pretty cool. They got a big soundproof booth. Got to see a bunch of people doing the whole voices of them. So yeah, that was a lot of fun to see that. Goofy, but totally fun. And then the 3D printing lab. Again, this is what I wanted to see. I want to see how all of this is made. Action figure development, creation, printing. Like, printing just fascinates me. Some of the stuff that people put out, like third party and people that I know that make these amazing head sculpts and paint them and do them up, and they fit on toys you could buy and everything else, and they just improve upon them, right? Couple for the Master Universe, too. We all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, they had these figures out again, which are awesome. I want one of those so bad. And they did a really nice presentation. They showed just how long it takes for everything to 3D print, the design element. It's basically just like one layer after one layer, one layer, one layer. And then they have to basically either sand it down, or they have like this jelly that kind of folds into it, which they can even print movable objects where the joints are already in place, nothing to assemble, which is pretty incredible, I have to say. So that was really cool. Then you get to see the table and what they've 3D printed, and I thought, well, these machines are huge, humongous machines. I thought, well, what a fun job, right? You're the guy that uses these machines to 3D print all this wonderful toys, and you know, you get to see Skeletor and He-Man on display. So that's really what they're showing off, and this is what the machine printed. Some of them are not as clean as the other ones. These two basically look just like what you would buy on the shelf, right? Nice, crisp and clear. These ones are more of like a rough concept, just to see how it works, see how they're kind of a little bit more chunky. I have to put up my Instagram. I got one of these, and I guess this is kind of what it is. It's either 3D printed or molded or whatever, but I got it from Mexico years ago. But they had a really nice presentation afterwards, after the big tour, and they went over product and packaging design insights. And again, that is what I enjoy seeing. I love seeing, especially with Master Universe, with all the artwork. Every video I do, it's like the main topic, right? They talk about all the artwork, and it was a lot of fun to see that. So for everybody on the packaging and product design panel, Damon Need, Terrence Iguchi, Sam Peck, Steve Redinger, Roy Juarez, and Lawrence Puckruckbaum. Oh, sorry if I butchered your name, but this was all very fascinating. We had to look at Too Bad, and they're talking about the Masterverse Too Bad. So it's a purple guy and a blue guy, and they're kind of stitched together. And what I like is seeing the rough cuts, and then they talk about, okay, what works, and then they got to go back, and they say, okay, you know, kind of shorten this a little bit. You got to elongate the arm, and they do so many tests over and over and over again to really get it right. And then when they have that, then they got to talk about the weapons, and they got to talk about every little piece that goes into this. And then they got to do like a third pass, a fourth pass. And just like when you buy a figure at the store, after all these months and months, sometimes a year or two, planning this, all the work that goes into these things, and sometimes they come out dang near perfect, and some of them you can tell, yeah, that's why maybe the paint didn't work out, or maybe this doesn't work. Maybe next time, right? And then the packaging, right? So they used the San Diego Comic-Con set to really talk about that and emphasize and show you kind of like a mock-up sample. And that's one thing I will say. Mattel really does great packaging. It's always very inventive, very fun, very hard to kind of toss, right? You're like, I can't throw this away. But the too bad, they talked about the artwork here and how they just don't do like bits and pieces. They commission a full-blown piece of art. One that goes on the box, one that goes on the side, one that goes on the front, and then they kind of see what fits the best. So you really don't get to see all of it, but you get to see parts and pieces. And then it was really nice because they ended up bringing out a carded sample of the upcoming new Eternia Too Bad for Masterverse. So you can tell, yeah, he's a big figure in there. He's a lot bigger than I thought he was going to be. I thought maybe he was going to be kind of teeny tiny, but he looks like a massive enemy for He-Man to battle. And again, seeing all the artwork, seeing how it fits, really looks nice. They center it, and like I said, it really just opens my eyes about the package design and all the development that goes into these things. So thank you for showing me that. Seeing all the products is great, but seeing this is really what I like to go for. And then they talked about the Road Ripper, and this is for He-Man Origins, and they talked about, okay, well, this was the original, and now we're going to do the new one and update it. And with Origins, they always try to improve upon it, which I think they do a great job. They really do. They you know, you could do a whole bunch of new things in this day and age. So they decided to put two different heads. You can swap the heads out to evoke old artwork. And then they have the new artwork for the box, and they showed off the rough sketches and the pencils. And then they go, oh, well, here's like this amazing artwork right here, which is just astounding, right? For toys, that's part of the fun right there. And then you have the backside where they put the little blurb, right, where I like to read it off and learn more about the characters. So you have Mechaneck and the Road Ripper. They had to change the name. They didn't really give a reason why they had to change the name. And then they talked about Elephant the Elephant. Now, Snout Spouts. And this was actually interesting to me as well because they utilized Jurassic Park technology, right, for like the Spit Dilophosaurus to kind of see, okay, what can we do to make this guy squirt water and have it be functional? And I noticed that when looking at this figure where it works, I think like they kind of went over like it was a little hard to kind of decipher, right? Really make this work. Tons of passes, tons of designs, see what works. How does the hose connect? Is it part of the head? All that stuff goes into it. I think the end result, I mean, it works. It shoots water. Could it have been a little bit better? Sure. Why not? But I think it achieves its functionality of you put the nose into the water, you squeeze the backpack, and then it works. And yeah, you get to see all the different design elements that go into that. And how long is the little tube going to be? How long is the nose going to be? Does the tube affect the neck? Does it affect the head? You get what I'm saying? It's crazy. So going on into the artwork for the box, which is, God, that's beautiful. Right? Look at that. Can you imagine having that? I got to see all that original artwork, which is just glorious. So let's talk about Eternia, because that was one of the talking points for this event. So this thing, I'm going to just tell you the details first, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So this thing in general is 47 inches long and 34 inches high, give or take. So that's roughly 3 feet by 4 feet. Okay, so it's already giant. Come on. And it's got a working monorail with the battery-powered battle tram. I'm reading off the press thing so I get it right. The sky cage, jetpack fighter. Additional features include elevator, command center, battle dummy, trapdoor, lunging snake head, which is kind of cool. The snake will lunge at the tram, right? They kind of went over that. The working lion's head gate with the grabbing claws and the turret and the soft good flags. Applicable labels. Yeah, oh man, there's a lot of stickers on this thing, right? That was when they showed that, I was like, oh no. And of course, I think one thing that they wanted to point out was that they did keep in mind space, kind of, right? 3 feet by 4 feet. But space in the sense of if you can't put it all in one go in one area, you can kind of break it up. So the monorail can be reconfigured to just circle the center tower for maximizing display possibilities. And then it also comes with a deluxe mini comic book. So for the Eternia crowdfunding that Mattel Creations is going to do, there's going to be some tiers to this. So initially, as you could talk to Mattel about this, I think it got revealed a little bit early, but hey, we all know 5,000 backers. That's how much is needed to take this thing home. And if you, okay, so it's one of those things where this is kind of like, yeah, stop doing the early bird backer bonus, because I think that kind of messes things up. But when the Eternia playset is funded, all orders received between the initial 10/12, so that's October 12th, all the way to 10/19, so it's like the first week, you get the special King Grayskull He-Man Origins figure. It's a key to the history and mystery of Eternia. Okay, so you kind of have to have this guy for Eternia. You know what I mean? Like, it's like extra, like, oomph, like, hey, come on and get this. I get it, but I'm like, you know what? I wish you wouldn't do early. No early bird for anybody. No, stop the early birds. But the 8,000 backers, right? Wondering what you get for this. And this is kind of what I've been asking for with He-Man Origins. Just like a bag of these things, right? Even in a set of these would be little monsters or whatever. But 8,000 backers, you get the Masters of the Universe, Origins, Eternia playset, and the Moat creature, right? So it's perfect for devouring intruders. The Moat creature has 7 points of articulation, has a moving jaw, and attacks interlopers, right? All those interlopers, you got to get attacked. But that, to me, that's cool. Even outside of Eternia and all this, I keep telling them, make a bag of monsters, or like the McFarlane bag of demons. You know what I'm talking about? That would be kind of cool. So, again, to reiterate, 8,000 backers, you get the Moat creature. And then at 10,000 backers, which, yeah, we'll talk about more about how I think this is going to go. But 10,000 backers, you get the castle, you get the King Grayskull, you get the Moat monster, and then you get Keklar, leader of the elders. Sure, right on, right? So you got the wizard guy, Keklar, and he's got 16 POA, and of course he brings might and sorcery to the final battle of Eternia. By the way, Eternia, just going to point out, it looks like a giant amusement park for the He-Man figures, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. This thing is massive. It's huge. It's enormous. It's like stupid huge, right? We can all agree. It's like, where do I put my dining room table at this point? But for what they showed and the amount of parts and pieces and everything else, it's kind of like, okay, you know, $550 plus, okay, plus, right? This is the other kind of tacked on thing. It's $50 for shipping if you're in the U.S. You got to look which country you're in to see what kind of surcharge. So it's $600. And that's, you know, that's not cheap. Let's talk about that. When they announced, they go, okay, so all this, and here's the backers on. They go, you know, it's going to be this price. And nobody in the audience was really like, yes. You know, it was like, ooh, you know what I mean? Like, kind of like that. I don't think anybody was like too upset, but it wasn't just like, you know, a round of applause. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things where I think that there's really 3 elements to this. If you are even thinking about getting this Eternia playset, I think you have to fall into these 3 categories. Number 1 is that you've been collecting He-Man for years and years and years, and you don't have Eternia for your collection, which I totally understand, right? Totally makes sense. In the case of a lot of people that were there as fans as well as press, that was kind of like the main thing. Like, okay, I can finally have Eternia. And if you look at the prices for the old original one, I think the original one sold for like $100. You see, you know what I mean? It's you know, but over the years, I think eBay says like $1,500 is the cheapest if it has all the parts and pieces. So it's pricey, and it's going to be pricey. So they kind of know what they're doing in terms of pricing it. It's kind of like, but I can't speak to what's included, how it's made, and all that kind of stuff. I just see it as, here's the price. If you want it, there you go. Number 2 would be that you're not putting this on a credit card, and then by putting this on a credit card, you're not feeding yourself, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not taking care of your family. Little Johnny's not getting his braces. Do not buy this. If you're even considering that, right? Please do not. Enjoy life. This is for people, and we all know He-Man fans, right? I'm a new He-Man fan, but I'm older. You know what I mean? So it's people that are financially set. You have the money. It's just kind of fun money. If you got fun money, you can do whatever you want with it at this point. And then number 3 would be, ultimately, space to display it. Don't buy this and then go, oh, it's going to sit in a box, right? So my goal, right, because I am planning on getting this. I like He-Man Origins. I'm pretty much complete and everything else, so this would be nice. But my goal, because it doesn't ship till like 2024 or something like that, is to downsize some of my collection and have a place to put this in my office, which I could have a place, but I got to get rid of a few things. So those are the 3 things that I offer in terms of this. But ultimately, 1, it's pricey. 2, He-Man fans, you know what I mean? This is a missing part of your collection. I think you already have your answer. But keep the money in mind and do other things unless you're just like, yeah, I got the cash, leave me alone, right? That's all I got. And the early bird stuff, stop doing the early birds. I'm being honest. And then I will say, for other companies, if this funds, don't think that this is going to be a way for you to go. This is Eternia. This is a thing that's been a thing for years and years and years. So just because this price is high, don't think you're going to get that price for other things that are like kind of less known, right? My advice. Also, to the effect of crowdfunding has taken its toll, I think, on people. So probably dumb down the crowdfunding after this. A lot of people like to say, well, if you get the price for this, and that's all they're going to keep going with the price. Well, for me and He-Man, I don't know what else you'd really do after Eternia to crowdfund it. So, and my thing is, if it gets to be too crazy and out of control, I just stop collecting it. So ultimately, they dig their own hole if they want to go this route. But anyways, enough about Eternia, right? You've heard enough. Let's talk about the normal stuff that you're going to find at retail coming soon. So first and foremost, we have the new figure. So this is the New Adventures Skeletor figure. He will be releasing fall 2023. He's going to be a Target exclusive in the international market. It will vary, right? They haven't made any details just yet, but it'll vary. And then, the usual 7-inch scale. He has 30 points of articulation, soft goods cape, conic staff. His helmet comes off. Ooh. And he'll pair with a spring 2023 release of the New Adventures of He-Man. So this is all Masterverse, in case you are wondering. Moving on, but sticking with Masterverse, we have the Netflix He-Man MOTU Revelation Duncan figure. He is going to be in spring 2023, Target exclusive as well, and again, international. It will vary. Just wait for more details. I really hope that they improve upon international availability for a lot of these things for people, because there's a lot of passionate collectors overseas, and in meeting and talking with a lot of people at this event, I mean, people came, I'm complaining, oh, I had to drive like an hour and a half. People came from Germany and South America and crazy long distances. So more power to them, right? By a lot. But you could tell, yeah, Duncan, he's that deluxe Masterverse, got a ton of stuff. You can do all the different looks, and you give him that big gun, which is actually pretty cool in the laser blaster thing. So not a bad looking Duncan figure. Can't say it's for me as of right now. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm going more for the stuff that I really, really like the Mechaneck and Ground Ripper. And again, if you missed it, this already went up on Walmart for pre-order, so you can grab that. I'll put links for everything down below, but that looks pretty cool. I'm really enjoying the He-Man Origins line. He'll be out spring 2023. He's a mainline vehicle. He'll be everywhere. It's just Walmart put him up first. So it's pretty cool. I'll definitely be grabbing him. Now, this is going to be for Mattel Creations. And this guy will come out around spring 2023. And they were making jokes that this guy started off as like a sticker, right, for Castle Grayskull. So this is Frogmonger, which is awesome. He kind of looks like the bad guy from Super Mario Bros. 2, right? King Wart or whatever his name was. But he'll be the standard $18 on Mattel Creations plus the shipping. You know how that goes. Actually, I like this. From the, the PowerCon exclusives with the big, twisty tentacle kind of thing, and now you got the Frogmonger. I'd say do more of these guys. The box is cool. I love the artwork on the brown boxes. I'll give it to them. It's very cool. And then, like I said, do more of the sticker stuff. I think that's really cool. So again, spring 2023, Mattel Creations for Frogmonger. Love that name. And with this one, this is one of those, again, Mattel Creations, and I'll tell you honestly, This will be around spring 2023 as well, so kind of like 1 month, something like that. $18. This is the anti-Eternia he-Skeletor figure, and I like the colors on this guy, but that's kind of weird. Stops. It's kind of goofy. In the two, you get it. He-Skeletor, obviously. It's from the DC Comics multiverse. Basically, it's inspired as Keldor, the he-Skeletor. So, most powerful Keldor in the multiverse. Again, spring 2023, Mattel Creations. You wonder why I laugh at this stuff, because it's so goofy. But again, it's freaking cool. I don't know. It's just fun to collect this stuff. And then you got this guy, and I know this is where the groans are going to come from. This is a Walmart exclusive for fall 2023. It's Mossman, and they flocked him. So you get a flocked Mossman Walmart exclusive. I know how that goes. And you got a bunch of different heads and accessories. So you got like more of like the standard head, and you got like the comic book look for Mossman, so you could swap out parts and pieces to get various looks. And it looks cool, and the flocking looks good. And of course, the best part is he smells like pine. So yes, he will be pine scented as well as Walmart exclusive. Anyway, so for this last reveal, I'm going to let Sam Pack, he's the senior product designer. He got up on stage and he walked us through it. Thank you very much. I will say this is pretty cool.
Origins Snake Mountain.
Snake Mountain, everybody. So as Josh was saying, this geometry is not final. So some of those things like size, proportion, curvature, and all that stuff is still very early. But we're really happy to introduce Snake Mountain to you guys. I know you guys have all been asking, where's Snake Mountain? And here it is, and we're happy to deliver. So we're doing this in true Origins fashion. We're keeping a lot of what worked, and we're thinking about what can be better, right? So one of the things that we thought of first, Damon and I talking about it, how can we make this better? And one of the first things we thought about is having a mountain that actually kind of represents the Filmation / a mountain peak. So this is an added piece here that we added to the archway. Obviously, we're going to be making the snake a little bit more prominent and bigger. I don't know about this big, but that's still in the works. It still maintains everything you know and love about Snake Mountain. We got the shackles, and we increased the width of the stairs just a little bit more. But just because of the logistics of packaging and all that, we just had to be realistic about how much we can increase it. We also still have this bridge here, and this is still here. Okay, so moving on to the inside. We're telling a story with this new Snake Mountain. So we're removing the voice changer feature in place of some cool like floors, thrones, cages, little monsters here, slug monsters that you can remove. The little pieces there. The ladder, etc., etc. This wolf head will articulate the left and right, and if you guys can see this little spider, you're gonna be fighting that spider while getting to Skeletor. You can also unplug this dude. One of the coolest things about this set is, the added stuff, right? So instead of having just left to right play, we wanted to bring it out to you guys just a little bit more. So there's this fold-up piece to represent more acid pits. And fun fact is these little plugs are the same plugs on the Origins figure's waist. So you can pop off the top and plug them in there to make it look like they're melting. It's one of my favorite parts. You still got all the original parts of it. Let's show them. So you guys see the hole down here, plug it in, and he's melting. So that's an added part. Added a weapons rack. We're just thinking, Grayskull has a weapons rack. What can we do to kind of make this feel like it's on par with Castle Grayskull, right? So we got the weapons rack. We also have this new really cool cage. Remove. Oh, thank you. From here. And place it up here. Wow. So when your figures enter Snake Mountain through the archway, there's going to be a trap door here. You guys can catch that. So that falls in, they fall into the cage. Then Skeletor's minions will move this cage and put him here into the little dungeon area. So, you know, we're trying to tell a little bit of a story, an adventure kind of thing. And of course, plus it up from what the vintage was. So we got Skeletor's throne here as well. Rotates. And yeah, it's a lot of cool extra little details. Like you see these little roots in this hole to kind of give a little bit more environmental effects. If you guys notice, there's no net, because we kind of thought that it was, it could be improved on. You know, if you had a trapdoor here, it tells a better story, like they're falling straight into the acid pit. Yeah, we're adding a bunch of little tchotch figures, the throne, the cage, so yeah, we think this is going to be a really cool item.
Yeah, and of course a mountain is bigger than a castle, so it's going to tower over your Castle Grayskull.
Yeah, I think Grayskull comes up to like...
Not even, yeah.
Right? Something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're really excited to finally reveal this to you guys. This is a lot of love that we put into it.
So, yes, the final news of the day, we're going to be getting a giant He-Man Origins Snake Mountain. And I think a lot of people have been asking for this. It's giant. It's huge. I would say take all concepts with a grain of salt as of right now. They're still kind of put the finishing touches on things, but you get it for the most part. You'll be getting Snake Mountain. Fall 2023. It's a mainline reveal. It's not exclusive. It's a big old fortress for Skeletor. They've improved upon things. It's kind of a bummer that they took the speaker thing out, but I think that that's kind of antiquated technology at this point. I'm glad they didn't put like an app system or anything in there. Just leave it alone. I'm totally cool with that. Trapdoors, the little moat monsters, right? Jumping out of the lava, and then you can put the characters in there because they got the right pegs. This, I think, is also a good substitute for those of you that, you know, you look at Eternia like, well, no, that's way too expensive, or where am I going to put that? I think everybody would kind of much prefer, like the more casual He-Man collector, or just, like I said, the ones without room. Snake Mountain is a lot more feasible, right, at the end of the day. And, you know, compared with Eternia, and I'll admit all day, when I saw Eternia at San Diego Comic-Con, they had a glorious setup, right? All in the cage. You get to see all the different characters in the vehicles, and everything was a lot of fun. And I enjoy that about He-Man Origins. So for me, it's expensive, but it will be mine when it comes out. But I'm telling you and telling you again, unless you fit those 3 criteria that we talked about, do not buy this. Because it's not worth it to have this around, right? Miss out on life, miss out on products, everything else that you should and could be buying when maybe you're just more of the casual fan. Now, for those of you who've been collecting He-Man for years and years, I ain't going to tell you what to do. You already probably know what you're going to do. And especially with what Eternia is priced at, these, like the original one, it's a little bit more feasible. It's a giant amusement park for Skeletor and He-Man to dance around in. But there's so many parts and pieces and the dreaded stickers and everything else. But if to see this thing, if you haven't seen it in real life, you'll laugh. You're gonna laugh. It's ridiculously big, which I think that is where crowdfunding should go. Because I don't know about putting this thing on a shelf. I mean, the box alone. Can you imagine the box for this thing? So that's going to wrap it up for my look at the Masters of the Universe 40th Anniversary Press Day. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the details. Look for more on my Instagram. It'll be the same, but a little bit more photos and everything else. So, again, thank you to Mattel for having me. Thank you to everyone that I met, everyone I got to say hi to. It was a lot of fun. So, raise the sword, say the words, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power. And I'll catch you all soon. Adios. Ha 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 ha!